All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually have a phenomenal, legendary individual straight out of East Orange, New Jersey. We have multi-platinum, Grammy Award-winning, and member of the iconic hip-hop trio Naughty by Nature and Illtown Sluggaz. We got the one and only KG right here live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good, man. What's going on with you?
Oh man, doing best I can possibly be. Just enjoying that amazing Canadian summer, but we got a heat wave going on right now, man. So it makes me wish that we still had that winter time going on.
Yeah, a little bit going on like that in Jersey as well. It's hot out here.
But I know you're a busy guy, KG, so I'm going to dive right into this interview, man. But I want to take you back to the ripe year of 1989, December 5th to be exact, when the new style, now known as everyone knows, Naughty by Nature, released the amazing album titled Independent Leaders. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind this first group project, and of course, what ultimately made you guys decide to change your name to what we know as now Naughty by Nature.
Well, when we first started off, I mean, we were coming out of high school, and we were formed in high school, in East Orange High School. All three of us all went to East Orange High School. And we started off doing talent shows, and when we did the talent show, it went over well, and we didn't even have a name. So when we did the talent show, it was for my senior year. Been in church with juniors, I was a senior, and we did the talent show, and I scratched in, "It's the new style." So, like I said, we didn't have a name. I just scratched in from the Beastie Boys, "It's the new style." We did the talent show. It went over well. Everybody liked it and started saying, "Hey, you guys should do more talent shows. You guys are dope. Hey, hey, hey." And they just started saying, "Hey, the new style was dope." And we were like, "All right, well, we're called the new style." That's how that started, as far as the name. And then, we started doing talent shows, and everybody, especially at home, and around our way locally, we were winning all of the talent shows and doing well in the talent shows. And we got turned on to Sugar Hill Records, legendary Sugar Hill Records. Sylvia Robinson, rest in peace. Shout out Leland Robinson as well. We got turned on to Sugar Hill Records by a guy, one of the guys around our way, a legendary MC named Mike C. He told us about Sugar Hill Records. They were doing business with him, but they changed their name at the time, and they were called Bon Ami Records. They were no longer Sugar Hill Records. So he put us onto them. They liked us. They signed us, and there you have it, as far as the new style album.
And I gotta say as well, man, it's such a classic album, man. I wish a lot of individuals would actually remember how just amazing that album was, man. Just the fact that you guys looked so young on that cover, man. I remember as well on that cover that you actually had the kid in play look going on with the giant fade.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was the time. Back then, late '80s, everybody was rocking hot top fades. And that was the haircut and the styles at the time. The only person who didn't go through any changes was Zen. Zen always kept a low, he called it a mama's boy cut. So that's why people always say, "Oh, you look the same, Zen," because Zen always kept the exact same haircut. If you look at him from a new style, low haircut. You look at him all the way through Naughty by Nature, low haircut. So he never went through changes, especially not no appearance changes as much as me and Trex did.
And before we move off the topic of this album, man, I just have to say, "Droppin' the Bomb" is always my favorite song off that album.
Cause you do it right, yeah. Yeah, Dropping the Bomb was dope. Actually, that was one of my favorites too. And then Smooth Move was another one of mine, one as well. One of my favorites.
And if I'm actually not, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Unique was actually one of the co-producers for Smooth Mood as well.
I'm not sure. He may have been, but I'm not sure. Unique was a guy that was around at the time. He may have. I don't even remember. If he had any input into it. I know it was a Bob James we used doing it. So I mean, I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know what those credits were on that.
And while we're actually just on the topic of...
I don't recall Unique ever even doing beats, so I don't know about that.
Well, while we're on the topic of production, in 1993, you actually did production work on Run DMC's album "Down with the King" on the song "Hit 'Em Hard." I was wondering, from what you can recall, can you tell our listeners the story behind that phenomenal recording session? And of course, what was it like just working alongside the late great Jam Master Jay?
I mean, it's legendary, man. I mean, if you think about what we stand for and at least what we were trying to do as New Style, even coming out, first starting off as New Style and even as Naughty by Nature, 2 MCs, 1 DJ, everything we did was built off of Run DMC. Definitely, all-time favorite rap group, icons, huge, huge, huge fans, idols, of ours. So, to obviously, to ultimately get a chance to work with them, I mean, it was a dream of a lifetime for me personally to get in there and be able to work with, D-Run and Jay. Like I said, coming up, growing up as huge fans as we were as a group and me as an individual, to get a chance to do something with them, jumped at that opportunity, man, and cherish it to this day as well, too, no matter what. Those guys are, those are the kings of rock, for real. Kings of rock and hip hop.
And if I'm not mistaken as well, "Down with the King" was actually one of Run DMC's biggest albums to actually come out as well.
I mean, I don't know the analytics or the the numbers on it, but I know it definitely it did really good. And shout Pete Rock for that. Since Pete Rock did that on title record, "Down with the King," that was a really, really dope record. But I'm sure a lot of people will beg to differ, with the King of Rock album, or even the other one, I forgot what that one was called. Raising Hell. People would probably beg to differ, but at the end of the day, it's Run DMC. Everything to me personally, everything Run DMC always is legendary and always will be legendary to me. So it don't matter which album it is. At the end of the day, the name, the logo, everything is iconic about them.
And also as well, in 1995, Naughty by Nature was actually nominated for 2 separate Grammys, where you guys actually won a Grammy Award for Best Hip-Hop Album for Poverty's Paradise. From what you can recall from that eventful night, what was it like just being up there at the Grammys and accepting that prestigious award? Because that was actually, like, very early on within your guys' career.
Yeah, it was. And also, too, that was the very first time that category was even, introduced. So we were the very first group to win a rap album from a rap group, and the Grammy of that category like that. Nobody had won it until we did that time. So that was pretty cool. And I remember, when we were even, because at the time they were kind of snubbing rap guys, and the people that was winning or had anything to do with it, they wasn't televised with rap music. So I remember our manager at the time at Flavor in the Shop, him telling us, "Yo, if y'all win, go up on the stage and say thank you, but no thank you, and don't accept it." And we were like, "What? How we going to do that? Turn a Grammy down?" He was like, "I'm telling you, you're going to win it. They're going to send it to you anyway. Just say thank you, but no thank you." But we went up there and we accepted it, and it was cool. And the crazy thing is even when we came in there and we won that, we missed it because we came in and that actually I'm bugging. That wasn't that. That was the American Music Award. Is the one that we missed. That was when we were up against Bone Thugs and Harmony and all of those guys. We missed that. But yeah, I definitely remember Shock him telling us not to accept that Grammy.
I have to ask, when you actually went up there and accepted it, was he actually upset with you guys, or did he kind of understand where you guys were coming from of this situation as well?
Yeah. Nah, he understood it. He understood it. He was cool either way we went with it. He wasn't mad. I mean, he was just as happy that we got the award and we won it, and we went up there and got it. He just was saying that, "Yo, that would be crazy if you did that," But he wasn't upset about it.
And I gotta say as well, I really think you guys also should have took home the best performance as well for "Feel Me Flow," man, because that song still to this day still resonates within hip hop and all the fans. If you put on "Feel Me Flow," if individuals don't know the name Naughty by Nature, they definitely know that beat and they know that song.
Right, right, exactly, exactly. I mean, that would have been legendary, right? If we would have won them both. But I'll take the one. Some people, will go through a career or a lifetime of a career and never even get nominated or never win one. I mean, just think about this. And I mean, and trust me, this is one of my best MCs and dopest MCs that I like of all time, even Nas. Look how long it took for Nas to even get his. You know, so just think about it like that, man. So you have a lot of people that won't get opportunities. I'm not sure. There's still a bunch. I'm not sure. I don't think Snoop has won one. Have you?
I don't think Snoop has. I know he's won like obviously MTV awards and all those other awards, but as for a Grammy, I don't think he actually has.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. And I mean, it doesn't. But then again, look at his career. I mean, you can't. I mean, he's having a great career. So Grammys don't define it, But at the same time, some people, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not proud of mine, because my point is to say that there's people out here having a great career that haven't won one yet, and there's some people that probably will never win one. Doesn't mean that their career isn't good, but or it might take them, 30 or 40 years before they win their first Grammy, and it didn't take us that long, which is pretty cool.
And also as well, on March 25th of 1997, Biggie Smalls actually dropped his second studio record titled "Life After Death," where you actually produced this song "Miss You" that's featuring the group 112. I was wondering if you can actually just tell our listeners a story behind that recording session, and of course, what was it like just working alongside Notorious B.I.G. for his last days?
I mean, another great MC, a big fan of his as well, always was. Rest in peace to Big. Had a chance to tour with Big and Puffy and the whole Bad Boy crew, and we always talked about working with each other while we were on the road, and got the opportunity to do it after we did the road, and we came back home, and he was working on that project. Puff reached out to me. He said, "Hey, man, Big want to work with you. What you got?" So I actually had Next on that record originally. Next did the chorus. I had the beat and everything, and we had the chorus and the idea. I had Next on there. I actually took RL to the session when 112 Big recorded it. I took RL Whitney to the session, and that I was trying to, it would have been dope if I kept, my group on it, but I get it. I get the polish it. I understand, that what Puff wanted to do, 112 was his, Big was his, so it made sense. But the opportunity at the end of the day, man, like I said, I mean, to get a chance to work with guys that you're really a fan of, and they're dope, and to be able to get up in there and not only, work with them, but call somebody a friend of yours, that's really dope. Like I said, we had a chance to tour with Biggie's Junior Mafia, the whole Bad Boy family, Craig Mack, Lil Kim, Mary, Jodeci, Puff, everybody was out there. And, we had a nice little bond with them overall. And like I said, it led to me ultimately working with Big and going over there to record that record with him with 112.
And when you said a few moments ago how Next, the group Next was actually originally on that song, was that version with Next originally entirely scrapped, or is it still actually circulating in someone's vault right now?
It's circulating in my vault, but it's not in nobody else's vault. It's just a demo that I have. Like I said, it was an idea that I laid down, and I presented the idea, and it got changed. But yes, it is in the vault. This is my vault, though.
And I'm pretty sure you probably got asked this many times, but I have to ask, do you have any plans in the future to kind of release that to streaming platforms or anything of that nature, or is that just something you want to keep for your personal self?
Nah, that's just for my personal self. I'm not going to do that. I'd rather let it, be out there the way that it is. There's certain records that I will do some stuff like that with, and just be like, hey, by the way, this was the original demo of that record. But you know, I'm not going to do that to Big Legacy or something I did like that. You know, I'm not going to do that.
And also as well, in the mid-90s, you actually created your own R&B-oriented label by the name of Illtown. I was wondering, what is the origin story behind that label? And of course, what originally made you decide to start up this company in the mid-90s?
Well, I started off first, you know, my first group that I actually produced and put out to a label that I ran and owned was Illtown Records. And John A was my very first artist and group that I produced. You know, and I kind of shocked people especially coming out as Naughty by Nature in the hip-hop group and producing hip-hop. And the first group that I came out with, the project that I produced was R&B. It threw a lot of people off. And that was through my label, Illtown Records. And when I decided to leave Naughty by Nature, I switched my label and started a whole new brand to Divine Mill, to just rebrand myself by myself that had nothing to do with, you know, the whole. I wanted to just separate the truth from Naughty by Nature and just create my own lane and create my own thing. So I started doing Divine Mill. And that was 90, I would say like 94, like 90, about 90, like 94, 90, like 94, like 95, something like that.
And I gotta say as well, when you actually mentioned Jaheim a few moments ago, that was actually in my list of questions. So since you actually brought that up, how did you originally discover him? Because he is such a gifted, talented singer.
Jaheim came through a demo tape that was dropped off back in the 90s, in the early 90s, we had a store in North New Jersey. We had a Naughty Gear store. We actually had a storefront, a physical store, and, you know, people used to drop off demos over there. You know, it's not like now where people just digitally try to find you or say, hey, go check out my link, check out my SoundCloud. Back then, you know, it was a tape. You know, mail a tape to somebody and hope that somebody listens to it. And I happened to listen to a lot of the demo tapes that came to me. You know, that's basically how even John A. A lot of the artists that I've worked with, even Next, you know, a lot of those came through demo tapes. You know, Next came across to me walking through the mall. I was walking through the mall the day before a show. We had a show at Princess Club out there, First Avenue. So the day before that, I was walking through the Mall of America, and Tilo and Tweet, you know, walked up on me and was like, hey, you know, what's up? You know, me and my brother, we got a group, we sing, or whatever. I want you to check some stuff out. So I told them to come to the show the next day. But Jaheim, he mailed his tape down to the store. And the same with John A. John A. mailed their tape to Flavor Unit, the Flavor Unit's offices. And it ended up to me. You know, they addressed it to me, you know, and Miss Owens and a young lady by the name, and Miss Owens is Latifah's mother. Miss Rita Owens, rest in peace to her. So Miss Owens and Lynn Scott followed up with them and made sure that they got connected with me. But they gave me all of the demo tapes that came in Flavor Unit that was addressed to me, and John A was one of those demo tapes that came to me. So, you know, I had John A that came through Flavor Unit from a demo tape, and then I had Next that walked up on me in the mall in Minnesota, and then I had Jaheim that came through demo tapes down in our Naughty Gear store.
And I still remember when Next actually dropped Welcome to Nextasy, man. That's still one of my favorite Next albums that actually came out. And I do know they came out on Divine Mill as well, man. Such a phenomenal project with amazing features as well, from like Beanie Sigel to many other amazing artists.
Yeah, 50 Cent back then, before 50 Cent really blew up. Worked with a lot of different people. You know, he wasn't on that, he was on the second project, but, you know, we worked with him back then too, so. Yeah, that first project, though, what you're talking about, with Welcome to Nextasy, that album was really good, really tight. And shout out Lance and Prof, too, from the group Low Key. They were the original producers of Nex's demo tape. When I got Nex's demo tape, it was such a dope demo, and that's because of Lance and Prof. they had did such a great job putting together the original demo for Next that allowed it, to sound as good as it did, and allowed me to love what I heard when I first ran into them.
And also as well, you actually had the opportunity to actually discover another phenomenal individual by Coffee Brown, and duo Coffee Brown. And I do know not a lot of individuals really bring up this phenomenal R&B duo, but I was wondering, was that the same process how you discovered them by demo tape, or did it go a different way for these individuals?
They were slightly different. Coffee Brown came via two different avenues. Or three. First off, it was, I had a concept that I wanted to do. I wanted to do a guy and a girl. I said, a guy and a girl is missing of the group. So I said, I want to do a guy and a girl, but I need the players. Now, I thought of the name. I came up with Coffee Brown. So I had the name, but didn't have the player. So I put out the word. Got in touch with Vanell. So Vanell came into play, and that's the female, V. V came into play. She's from Jersey, so she came into play from Jersey. Then I was looking for the guy, and I had a writer that was with me, a guy named Cliff, that was originally going to be Coffee Brown. So originally it was going to be Vanell and Cliff. And even before that, let me go back, because even before that, I had a girl named Tara that I was working with from the Bay Area, and she was going to be Coffee Brown just basically as a band, by herself. And then that didn't work out. So me and her it didn't work out as far as what me and her were doing, and then she ended up not wanting to do music and just wanting to be a writer. So I said, okay, cool. So I'm not gonna do the Coffee Brown thing with you as a band. I'm gonna do it. And I took the name and said, I'm going to do it as a duet. So then that's when it went forward, like I said, to it being one of my writers, Cliff, and Z. So when I went into to do the showcase with Clive Davis at Arista Records for my Divine Mill deal, I took Coffee Brown, which was Z, and Cliff. I also took Next, and I also took Jaheim. Clive Davis and Arista Records loved Next. So Next ended up being on Arista through Divine Mill. He loved the concept of Coffee Brown, but didn't like the guy Cliff. But I also, during that day, I also showcased a solo guy by the name of Fonz. Clive and the guy said, hey, we don't like the guy Fonz as a solo, so why don't you put him in the group Coffee Brown and replace the guy that you have in there and put this guy and the girl together, and we'll do that. And that's how those two came together as far as Coffee Brown. I had Fonz and V, as well. V was, like I said, V was originally in Coffee Brown. Fonz was a solo artist, and Fonz came to me via Net. They told me about a guy. They were just like, hey, we know this guy from Missouri that's a dope producer. And he actually came in more as a producer with me first. He was producing with me and doing a bunch of stuff. And he ended up even doing a lot of records and producing records for Destiny Child and a whole bunch of different other people as well. He was a dope producer. But I ended up doing him in Coffee Brown, and I think that's what kind of, where it ended up, and probably was the reason why Coffee Brown didn't work as well either, because it wasn't something that was natural, really. They didn't come up together. They didn't really gel together, and it was almost like an idea of mine that I kind of forced them together. And Fonz was, like I said, more of a producer, probably maybe in his heart, was singing, but didn't really care about singing too much. And Vanell was more serious to be singing, so it just didn't work. Arista kind of, I guess, saw that same thing, and he kind of sort of pulled the plug on the project. And then it kind of pissed me off, because I felt like that project was really dope.
And I gotta say as well, just actually that like only album that that Coffee Brown actually released, in my honest opinion, was actually absolutely phenomenal. You couldn't really tell that they were really put together when you just as a fan's perspective, if you listen to that album, it sounded so natural. Were there ever actually like plans for a second album? Were there any preparation for that, or did they disband before that even happened?
In theory, like kind of sort of disbanded before the project even came out.
Damn. I gotta say, that's actually not good, you know? Like, so there wasn't really very much promotion on there, and there wasn't really any shows if they disbanded.
Right, yep. And that's why, that's why it didn't get the promotion, or it didn't get the look that it should have. And then, like I said, that's what pissed me off, the fact that it didn't work out. Not mad at them, just mad at the scenario overall, and just mad at the fact that, I felt like it was a great project, it was a great idea, the songs were great, and unfortunately it just didn't work.
And also as well, jumping ahead in the timeline, in 2019, you actually wrote and produced Angie Stone of Sequence's song "Perfect," that was actually track #1 on her most recent album, Full Circle. I was wondering, what was it like actually working alongside just a hip hop pioneer like Angie, and of course, as being a part of this project?
Right. I mean, I've known Angie Stone for years. Been around. Like you said, she comes from the hip hop world, so I've known and seen Angie around, for years, and we've always talked about working together, and we finally got to do that. So, I was pretty stoked and happy that we finally got to do something. Like I said, there's some people in the industry you come across and you're just saying, oh, hey, we should work together. And some people just say it when they see you and they talk about it. But, we talked about it for years, and she actually did come back to say, hey, we've always talked about it. Let's finally do it.
And I gotta say as well, such a talented individual as well, and legendary at that. It's so good to actually see these pioneers still actually putting out music, and still doing it just as good as they did way back in the day as well. Sequence is definitely a phenomenal, legendary hip-hop trio.
Excuse me?
Oh, I just said Sequence is definitely a phenomenal, legendary hip-hop trio.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Sequence, yes, absolutely. Like, you can't, like you said, like, you're talking about classic hip-hop right here, so, like.
And also as well, as the world already knows, Naughty by Nature unfortunately has disbanded, but yourself and Vinny have actually come together to actually create Illtown Sluggaz, not just a label, but of course a duo as well, where you guys hype up the crowd and go on tour and whatnot. I was wondering, what actually made yourself and Vinny decide to sit down and just create this phenomenal duo, and of course that very creative mascot as well?
Well, it's evolution. We've had and worked with Slugger for a while. Slugger has been around. Slugger's been one of my producers for a while. And speaking of the Andy Stone record you're talking about, we can co-produce that, with me. He's been around for a minute. So when we decided to put together this whole production, producer, DJ, crew thing, it was easy, to be honest, because my guys were sitting right there, and they sit right there with me almost every day. So we all do beats together. We all DJ together. We all sit in the studio all the time together. So when it came time for us to say, hey, let's try something different, let's do something different, it was easy. It really was. It was really easy.
And also as well, recently you just got off a North American tour with New Kids on the Block, Salt and Peppa, In Vogue, and a bunch of others. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this tour, and of course, what was one of your most memorable moments that you actually shared touring all across the United States of America?
Well, this is a mixtape tour too, so we did the first one as well. And the first one, Naughty by Nature, was on that tour. We were actually performing on that tour. But that's where Illtown Sluggaz as a whole was really, really formed and born. We already had formed it, but it was really born on that tour. That's where we started off the show last time and opened it up. And then that invited us back the second time. So the second time that we did it, it really it really opened up what we started last time and really took it to another level, and that's the Slugger Lounge, and that's our meet and greet experience. So, you know, like I said, last time we did the opening set and we did the Naughty set, but this time we didn't do the Naughty set. Naughty by Nature wasn't on it. It was just Illtown Sluggaz. So but our real focus on this tour was the Slugger Lounge. So we had a chance to really, really focus on the Slugger Lounge this time, and that was really our highlight because that, in theory, was one of our main sets of what we had to do. Where before, the last time we did the meet and greet, but it was the first time we did it. This time we evolved it. We added karaoke. We added a lot of different things into it this time, and we took it to another level. We can't wait to do this again because we're going to take it to another level as well. But it was a great tour doing it the second time. We had a chance to vibe out with En Vogue. Haven't seen them in years and years and years. And obviously Salt and Pepper, that's our family. So we've known them for years, and we've always been in contact and stay in contact with them. And we have actually Sluggaz. We have a record with Salt from Salt and Pepper. That's one of our Illtown Sluggaz records that you'll be hearing soon too. So we got one of those records in the can. And then New Kids is obviously our people. Donnie Wahlberg is our people. And to be honest, one of the real good things about this tour as well too, especially for Slugger Music and for me personally as a producer, I got a chance to gel with Griff McIntyre. That's Joey McIntyre's son. And Griffin was on our set this time, on the Illtown Sluggaz set, which was dope. Got a chance to vibe with him. He's a young kid up and coming. So I'm going to go out there and work with him. So that's something that I really liked about this tour too as well, to chill out with him and we get that young energy. We brought Ryan out with us, younger cat, a younger singer and singer-songwriter out there. So we had a lot of young energy around us, and we just had fun, man, to be honest, yo. Oh, and also too, Rick Ashley too. We had a chance to chill with Rick Ashley, which was really, really dope. Rick Ashley's a cool dude.
And I gotta say as well, man, I'm really glad that Ryan Lane actually had an opportunity to really shine on this tour as well, because he is such a phenomenal, gifted R&B singer. I'm really glad he got to show America what he's made of, because he definitely deserved all the glory he got as well.
Definitely. It was great for me too, you know, sitting back watching him, because I've watched Ryan from the beginning, you know, just starting to, you know, put himself together. And to me, this tour, he got it together overall. You know, I watched him. I mean, and I told him even one day too. I said, yo, like you don't even know. Like I just sit up to the side or stand in the corner and just watch, you know, with the fans, and I'm just looking at you and just seeing how you're reacting, how you're out there doing it with these fans. Because I'm looking at you to see if you got it, you know, and you're showing me, you know, that you have it. And being able to handle what it is that's going to need to be that I'm looking for you to do out there. So, you know, every night after the show was over, you know, we finished performing and the show was on. He's out there, you know, taking pictures with the fans, shaking hands with the fans, running around, you know, taking pictures, doing everything and everything he can to appease the fans, and at the same time, you know, make sure people who he is. And that's all you want in an artist, is that you want somebody to go above and beyond and actually do the work and put in the work and and want it more than you want it. And I saw that this tour with Ryan. So I was really, really happy that I actually even brought him out.
And I gotta say as well, before I move off the topic of the tour, man, I cannot wait for Mixtape Tour 3, and hopefully you guys actually hit the Toronto or Ottawa area, because I actually had tickets with Slugger Lounge tickets as well to meet you guys. I don't know if you noticed, but I was even promoting it as well. But I do know with obviously our Canadian border system, they love to slap everybody in the face because Canada does not want individuals to have fun, I guess. But I really hope number 3 is actually the best tour for you guys. You guys can slide into the Great White North.
Oh yeah. Well, if we on it, trust me, it will be definitely the best. But by that time, we're gonna have more records out. and we're gonna make weight. We're gonna be making noise. So if you come out there, if anybody that saw this time or the first time thought we made noise, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Hey, well, hopefully when you guys actually slide on through, and if it's winter time, you guys can actually help melt some of that snow with all that fire you guys actually bring through those turntables.
Yeah, and I mean even before that, there's a possibility. We'll pop up there before that. Who knows? So like I said, we got a lot of heat that we putting in, and we're gonna, like you said, we're gonna melt some of this winter snow out here with this heat.
And also, I have to ask, what is next for yourself, KG, and of course, Illtown Sluggaz as a whole? Because I do know you guys just came off tour. Do you guys have any new projects you're working on? Anything else you want to talk about or promote? Well, we still got you here live on the Canadian FM dial this evening.
Absolutely, definitely new projects. Like I said, we have new records and everything coming on the Illtown Sluggaz and Ryan Lane. So it will be a combination of Illtown Sluggaz and Ryan Lane together. We're putting out a lot of records. We have the Forever remix that's coming right now, the Ryan Lane song Forever. We have a remix to that features Vin and AV, the rapper AV. So we have that remix that's coming out in about 3 weeks from now. And then we also have another record called The Right Song that'll be coming right after that, and that's the Slugger record featuring Ryan Lane. So we got a bunch of records, and then like I mentioned, we have the Salt record, the record we have featuring Salt and Ryan Lane as well. So those records are coming soon, and there'll be a bunch of other records coming as well. Also, we're speaking right now and talking to Invogue. Invogue's doing a project, so it's looking like I'll be doing a record with Invogue that'll feature Illtown Sluggaz and Ryan Lane on that as well. So we got a couple of things coming and brewing, so be on the lookout.
And also, KG, this is the time of the interview quickly, right before I wrap things up, that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the radio station airwaves, just like a chance to give, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, but most of all, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you all across the board if they're not already doing so. But we have been playing your guys' music since day one, so I really hope all the regular listeners have already smashed that follow button on all your guys' platforms.
Right. I appreciate it, too, and I want to thank you, man. And if they haven't, just make sure they can follow me personally. I'm at KGNBN. That's KGNBN, meaning Naughty by Nature. And then also my group is at Illtown Sluggaz. And I want to shout out, too, to my homegirl, Katrina, out there in Canada. They're looking out for, shout out Katrina. She's been looking out for us. That's our Canadian family, her and Courtney and Rachel and all of them up there. So I want to shout them out. They've been showing us love for years. And she's been helping, especially Katrina and her crew. They've been helping us out tremendously with Ryan and plugging us through a lot of plugs digitally with Ryan as well. So I want to shout them out. Definitely can't forget them.
And definitely shout out to her as well for just making this interview possible as well. Definitely shout out to Katrina. We definitely appreciate you.
Yeah.
And KG, I gotta say quickly before we part ways, man, thank you so much for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening and sliding into the 97.7 FM radio dial, man. Truthfully, you have been one of my biggest inspirations, even before I got into the music industry. If there was no Naughty by Nature, honestly, there would not be no DJ Immortal, and that's honestly the truth. So thank you so much for years of tremendous music.
Hey, man, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. And vice versa, to be honest. There is, none of us groups or nobody without, you DJs and guys that support us and that play our music and play our music in the clubs and on the radio and everywhere to give us the exposure to get to the fans. And that's the honest truth. A lot of these people, some people tend to, feel like that it's just them. But it's not just them, meaning the artists. It's record companies, the record company executives. It's these people that work behind the desk at record companies. It's a lot of the people, the unsung heroes that's behind the scenes that stay, the extra hour to make sure you make that flight or rebook stuff. So we want to shout out people like that and the Katrinas of the world and everybody that a lot of people don't get the glory. They just get to see the people who are on the videos or hear the people on the radio, but there's so many people behind the scenes that make a lot of that stuff happen. So I want to shout all of y'all out. Thank you.
And I gotta say, you're most certainly welcome, KG, but definitely have yourself a phenomenal Friday night, and of course a great weekend as well. Hopefully down the line, I'll be in the next Sluggaz Lounge, man, and be able to shake yours and Vinny's hands in person, man. But for now, thank you so much for your time, and definitely have yourself a phenomenal night.
Absolutely, you too. Thank you, man.
You're most certainly welcome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Peace.